So let me now go to a totally different type of company, a real Belgium SME company, Klarrio. Kurt, the question is now for you. Sometimes we hear that Gaia-X is more about the bigger guys, the large companies, which are ruling everything. But still I see that your company is attaching a lot of attention to that, a lot of importance to that. So why are you with us here today?
Thank you. So I think when talking about SMEs, there are different types of SMEs, of course, right? You have the new economy SME, they will find their way to cloud. There's a whole bunch of other SMEs out there that probably have barely heard of cloud and how it's going to impact their business. And at the end of the day, just like a large company, they're going to go through their own digital transformation as well. Having said that, that requires evangelization and education, and I think Gaia-X has a role to play into that as well. But most importantly, what both of those type of SMEs have in common, together with large enterprises, I've heard it this morning several times, it's not about data protectionism or all of those things. And of course, that should not be the main driver. But when I'm talking about my enterprise customers, to whom we are building new different software stacks and data streaming platforms for, they are all fairly concerned about their data, and not only their data, but also their intellectual property. It's not only data, it is also intellectual property. And at the end of the day, if they want to do a cloud type of solution that touches a private or a public environment in combination with their on-prem, then they will be confronted currently with the majority of the cloud providers being US. And that is where the several different challenges occur when it comes down to IP and data ownership or control. So at the end of the day, we're a small company, but I think that is a common theme for SME and for enterprise, that is to have a guarantee that whatever you put into that environment, the cloud, that at the end of the day you have an ownership that allows you to really revoke it, control it, and to register it.
Thank you, Kurt. So it's about, in your opinion, Gaia-X should contribute in its by removing a barrier to the cloud, which is somehow guaranteeing small companies, but also larger ones, that the data you have there, the value that you put there into the cloud, is somehow protected, not in a protectionistic way, but it remains the value of the company, still giving access maybe in a consortium type of way. And so it's not so much maybe about US and Europe, it's about companies having their rights and protect their rights to do business. Okay, that's your insight. Very interesting. By the way, I now remember you were actually the first person who put Gaia-X on my radar even before the pandemic. Yeah, now I remember that. So very well done, I would say. Let me have a question now for our industry member companies here. A bit of a strange question. Imagine now, for a moment, that Pascal and Kurt, you would be in the place of Francesco, and you would be responsible for guiding this Gaia-X program forward. What would be, for yourself, for a company, but maybe mainly for the industry, the main top of mind priority? What would you like that you, Francesco, let's say, would deliver during next year? What would be your top of mind priority? Kurt, go ahead. Yeah.
What I would really like is that you bring a message of urgency out to the European market, not only the industry, but also its citizens. So I'm of the opinion, it's a subjective statement, hence it's an opinion, that it is not 12:05, but way past 12 if it comes down to making Europe stand out in the future within the domain of data. Sure, we have good quality data, we have data, but currently there is way too much dependency on non-European environments on how to deal with that data. And so if we're not careful and we don't reach the objectives with Gaia-X, and other initiatives like IDSA, for example, I think we're going to end up living really in a desert in 10, 15 years from now. We will have no data connectivity anymore because we're shooting all our data over Starlink up to our friend Musk. Infrastructure, whether it is being purchased by a European company or not, if it's on the premise of a US entity, data is gone. And if we're not careful, all of our kids will only know how to proprietary daisy chain stuff together, and there will be basically zero software development skills available anymore. At the end of the day, software skills which we require to create the not yet defined applications of the future. Because we can define a use case together, but I don't think we can ever be as creative as collectively the world can be creative. So there's going to be always another type of use case popping up. The SMEs, the scale-ups, the startups will define their use case, and they need to have an entourage, a setting, a framework where they can go unencumbered about developing their environment. But preferably an environment which not becomes something like I just said. No connectivity, no control on infrastructure, no control on data, and no software skills anymore. And for me, the Gaia-X concept framework constitutes an instrument to do something against that ongoing erosion, quite frankly, of European value.
I totally agree, and this is part of my normal pitches, and it's quite hard to say because people get scared, but I totally agree with Kurt.